that amongst those emails you released, while an act of transparency was committing it, a lot of Social Security numbers got released, a lot of personal information. Some folks are upset.
Well, that was a matter of public record of the Department of State, so we just released what the government gave us.
If you could do it differently, would you?
Yeah, if we have private information that's out there, we're going to take it off for sure.
There was some talk by the House Speaker and some others about beginning to ease up on testing here in Florida. Do you see that as a repudiation at all of what you did when you were governor?
No. I mean, the foundation I used to be a part of, and myself personally, has always believed that we should be reviewing this, that there should be fewer tests, they should be better tests, as good as they can be, and that they should be measuring critical thinking skills, which is really what at the end of the day, the student's going to need to go forward. So we're totally supportive of this review. I am, at least.
You met earlier today with the governor,
yeah,
one-on-one.
Hadn't been in the mansion in a long while.
I wanted to ask you real quickly then, in terms of what you talked about and whether or not you talked at all about the Florida standards and the fact that Governor Scott seems to keep wanting to rejigger those standards, which were in fact at one point in time based on Common Core.
We didn't talk about Common Core standards, didn't talk about Florida standards. We talked about other things, but look, the state went through a hearty review of all this. There was a lot of public input, there was a lot of modifications, and the standards are still high, which is really the thing that most matters. The fact that, I mean, if you have standards that allow you, if you assess faithfully to it, and you reach 10th grade level status by the 12th grade, who's fooling who? That's the challenge that we have in this country. So standards, whatever they're called, as long as they're state-driven and they're high and they're assessed faithfully, is what is at the hallmark of a reform agenda. So I think Florida's on a good track. I think Governor Scott's done a great job in that regard.
Governor, why would you change the class size amendment to raise money for teacher pay when you could fund it directly?
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with student learning. The whole objective of a system of learning ought to be, are children going to learn? What's the optimum means by which children learn? There's no evidence to suggest that 22 kids rather than 20 kids or 24 kids rather than 20 kids is going to change the chance of a child to learn. There is some evidence that if you put in a highly effective teacher in a classroom, irrespective of the number of kids in it, you're going to get better results. I mean, there's ample studies of that. And so, look, I was just talking blue sky, trying to provoke a little thought. I know, my gosh, that's something that is really frowned upon these days, but you know me.
Governor,
it's going to be hard to teach this old dog, new tricks to be, oh, you must stay inside this little box and this little line. That's a good idea. And someone will embrace it. Hopefully it'll be Andy Ford.
Governor, do you see the teachers union in this state and nationally as being an obstructionist, and are they going to be basically the core of the opposition to a Jeb Bush candidacy?
No, they'll have to get in line probably. I don't know if I go beyond the consideration. So no, teachers unions are not focused on, their main objective is to promote and protect the economic interests of their members. And those members are not just teachers, they're people that do the great work of providing food in the cafeterias, and in many counties they provide, keep the lights on. There's a lot of work that's done, and so I'm respectful of that, but their job isn't to create the optimum kind of environment where more and more children can learn. That's not their mission. It's not to say teachers aren't focused on that, of course they are. So anybody that suggests a new path that's different than 13,000 plus government-run, politicized, unionized monopolies is, we ought to maybe in 2014 going forward look at a new model, is going to be challenged by people who like the status quo as it is.
Governor, you were just up there for 44 minutes talking about education reform and didn't talk about Common Core. Are you trying to reframe the discussion away from that term?
No. I'll talk to, what do you want to talk, what do you want to know about it?
Are you worried, you're going to Iowa next month, that's an issue that in particular in Iowa many homeschoolers feel very strongly about, they're opposed to Common Core. It's become something of a litmus test issue within the Republican primary electorate. Are you concerned that your position on Common Core will sink you?
I'm for higher standards, and I'm for creating real restrictions of the federal government's role in this, so you can alleviate people's fears that you're going to have some kind of control by the federal government of content or curriculum or even standards. I'm against all that. I'm against the federal government being involved in demanding that assessments are done in a certain way. That's not the role of the federal government, and I'm for high standards. I'm for standards that if you assess them and you develop strategies to assure that children can achieve them, that we have more than just a fraction of our kids college and or career ready. And I'm a governor, I was a governor of a state where I got a chance to implement the most meaningful reforms in the country. And I can't wait to go to places and share that. Look, that's what ideas are about, is to take ideas, may not be popular. They were controversial when we started. I think Ash and I went to Pensacola the first, to the little school in Pensacola for the first statewide voucher program in the country. And I can promise you that Miss Lerner, I believe her name was, who's the principal of the school, thought I was like the devil incarnate. And she may still think that, I don't know, but a lot of kids have gotten a better chance of learning because we challenged the system. And there's a story to be told there. And it's a story of leadership, and it's a story of taking conservative principles and ideas and acting on them, not just talking about them.
So do you see yourself doing that in the coming months, actually educating?
That's the only process question I'm going to answer. And you're at Politico now, so that's all you're going to be able to answer.
No, that was I'm asking you to inform people.
Who's with me on this?
Okay, how about a process question then, on the transparency issue, if you don't mind.
A policy issue? A question?
Well, it's about your email release. Pegged to that. The Democratic National Committee has.
Oh, process question. You
Well,
just
they
broke
filed a
it.
complaint against you. They filed a complaint against your foundation for not releasing its tax forms, its 990s, to people who would request it. They say this shows that you're not into transparency. I was hoping you could respond.
You know what? I kind of feel flattered that I don't have any response to that because I don't even know about it. But I'm flattered that is it the DNC?
I believe so.
Has considered me worthy of attention.
Governor,
Can I ask another policy
Gov-
I
question?
released this today in the Mueller, confirming that Ms. Mueller was.
Look, this is a huge, the reaction I have is the one that when it wasn't confirmed, but it was probable that she's been killed. This is a threat to the world, a threat to not just to the region, but a threat to us. There are American citizens that are there fighting, to destroy Western civilization. That's their objective. We should not be timid about expressing exactly what their goals are. Is to create a caliphate to challenge our way of life. First in places probably nearby, but also if they had a chance, they would attack us as well. And I think we need to develop a world strategy to take them out.
Is the administration doing enough? It should be more.
I'm going to have a speech about that next week, so maybe stay tuned.
Governor, how much closer are you to making a decision?
I'm moving forward methodically on this.
What factors are you considering in that decision?
Process
I'm
question.
just having a chance to. I'm going to consider this as I go about building support for the leadership pack, and so we don't have a particular time frame on this yet.
Can I ask a policy question real quick before you go?
Gary, always.
In your remarks today, you were talking about funding the reforms, and you mentioned the merit pay
Yeah, I think
law.
that's important.
Well, explain to me what you meant. Are you suggesting that they should perhaps put a separate standalone item in the budget and say this is
I
where
don't
you
know. I don't know what to be honest with you, I don't know what the status of what the budget, the governor's budget request is, or what the legislature's done to date. But that was a big idea that has been, school districts now have been methodically going about implementing, and this would be one of the key elements of funding reforms. I said that more in the abstract. I don't know what the actual specifics are. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Governor.
Take care.
5 times